Reggie the Zoo, take it, baby.
Hey there, kids, it's Reggie in the Zoo. It's episode 15. We're going to talk a little bit of local news with some Buffalo Bills news, as always. Talk some NBA, kick it over to sports. We're going to talk a little bit of Duncan Robinson and Eric Spoelstra. And then we'll do our top 5 YouTube algorithm songs of the pod. And then the Zoo's going to go over a couple of movies as usual. And then we'll probably just kick back for the NBA Finals tonight. It's Reggie in the Zoo, episode 15. Let's go.
Let's take it, baby. Yeah, so thanks for coming back, everybody, to episode 15. If you're out there listening, we decided to switch it up today and do a little podcast from each of our own houses.
We are experimenting. It still should come over as pretty good audio.
Yeah, the audio, I'm not worried about. The video might be a little glitchy, but I think once, when you're done recording on Zoom or something, it kind of renders the video a little bit when you're done.
People are going to not like us very much, probably.
Well, I set it to render in a third-party editing program like Adobe, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but...
well, the one thing is that the one big ding here is that we're back, and it's episode 15, and that's pretty cool.
The only thing that matters is that we keep doing it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've got a few things to talk about, but what's going on in your neck of the woods? Are you doing good on the outside?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Doesn't the one guy in the news say, here's what's going on in your neck of the woods? That big
wide body?
That big wide body guy with the rosy cheeks and white hair. I think he says that. But, yeah.
I'm your neck of the woods.
Here's what's going on.
What's going on in your neck of the woods? How are you doing out there?
Pretty good, dude. Showcasing off little new living room furniture right now. I got my.
You got new living room furniture in?
Yeah, dude. I'm stoked about it. I haven't left my Sunday. I got it Saturday, so I had it for football on Sunday, and I literally just sat on my couch all day.
What pieces did you get in? Was it delivered? Did you have a couple big strong men bring it in for you?
I had a couple big strong men as my dad and my brother helped me out.
Were they strangers?
No,
my family bodies.
Yeah, it's a couch and 2 recliners. It's fucking great, and a new coffee table.
Couch and 2 recliners?
Yeah, dude. I want to use these recliners in the future. If we ever get a different setup that we can make a little more cozy, a little more homely and stuff, and it'd be cool.
Homely's ugly though.
Homely? Rusty.
Yeah, we can make it homely. We make it homely here.
We'll figure it out.
We make it homely.
But yeah, other than that, dude, just staying busy at work, staying busy with school. What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Nothing much. My cat's been annoying me, to be honest with you. He's here, which is rare. So that's kind of interesting. He can hear me on the podcast right now. He's never been here live. He's sitting over there on the chair. But he's been annoying. Right, he's been annoying the fuck out of me, to be honest with you.
Is he just staring at you?
No, he's staring off into the window with his arms crossed.
Is he? Where are you right now in your place? I'm in my living room right now in the corner, pretty much.
I'm in the corner by a bookshelf that's made of dressers that I had a friend that I lived with. I took from him. Seth took it from him, but he was going to throw it out with a bunch of shit. And then I've got Marcus Smart, who just got knocked out of the NBA Finals, but legendary jersey, legendary story behind that jersey. That was one of the 2 jerseys I purchased in the beginning of Corona that I was afraid to open. And I hung them out of the window, which is over here of my apartment.
Well, for a day or so?
To let them air out. I figured it was a good idea to let them air out so that they would, all the Roni would drip off. This was this was legit March 5th. flashback. So that was the same time that I accidentally left the screen undid, and
Undiddled.
Boris got out. So
Boris
it's
the
funny, full circle. The front of that jersey was definitely not done as well as you would think based on the way it looks on camera. So that's also fucking great. Shitty, weird jersey, but not bad. It looks bad if you were to wear it. Like the front was a difficult front to the Oklahoma State. If you look up Oklahoma State, someday I'll show that jersey on here. But it looks freaking sweet on the wall. I just wrapped it around the picture that was on the wall and just put it up.
What's up with that eyes wide shut mask behind you?
That eyes wide shut mask has been spray painted black. It was once black and white. Got spray painted black at some point.
Yeah, that shit's legit.
But yeah, a lot of this stuff was just over here. I actually moved that clock down
just so they can get
higher.
an idea. So we're recording at about 8:05 right now.
Yeah, Eastern Standard. We didn't say the date. I didn't aggressively ask you the date. What's the date?
It's shit. What is the date? I think it's September 30th. Yes, September 30th, 8:10 p.m.
PM Eastern. We're in Buffalo, New York.
On a Wednesday
as always.
evening.
But yeah, it's fall. The
Crazy.
season really did change overnight out of nowhere.
Dude, crazy weather today. Crazy thunder. I haven't heard thunder like that in I don't even know how long.
Well, my Western New York friend Joel, the local weatherman, aka my friend, said that it was lake effect. I have not fact checked that. Could be fake news, but some sort of lake effect. And that makes sense because it really did piss right down. Pissed right down.
It really did today, dude. It was like all day today. That's why I took a late lunch today to avoid it.
Thought I forgot my vape. Oh my God, I'm saving a lot of money by not buying those disposable vapes. Really quickly wanted to say that.
Yeah, I'm really liking this one. I just got this one a couple weeks ago, and battery doesn't last like a crazy long time, but it's more as like, I don't know, it's just more sleek, it's smaller, it's not as bulky and goofy.
And it's better than smoking cigarettes. I used to smoke indoors, and I feel so trashy now. I'm a little ashamed to say that out there.
I used to do that too.
To the people out there, don't be ashamed if you do, but eventually if you quit smoking cigs and you start vaping, then you might actually feel ashamed of it.
Got a little smoke.
2 wars?
Now,
so yeah,
now
we should probably...
Are any of these wars taking place on U.S. soil?
Yeah. Always Sunny podcast episode, which is basically this podcast, because it's the first home episode. It's the first home VCR episode of all time in the Reggie and the Zoo history.
I kind of like doing this. I think if we're going to do this more, forgive me because I don't remember the name of that software we were using before, but I think we should possibly get that and kind of fuck around with it, see what we can do.
Yeah, it was OpenReel.
No, not OpenReel. OpenReel is for
podcasting. You're talking about
the podcasting. Remember, I signed up for like a week free trial, but we never ended up using it because we never needed to. But I think I'd like to definitely look into that more because it does have, it's specifically made for podcasting and everything. So I think it'd be cool if we can kind of figure that out, and if we're going to do it from home a lot more. That
would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So obviously the Bills are 3-0. I'm sure you watched it.
Yeah, I've been watching them. I've been watching a lot of all the Sunday night games, and Monday night. I've been trying to watch those.
What's your prognosis of this Bills team? Because I'm ecstatic. Everybody that knows me knows I've been pretty ecstatic. You can follow me on Twitter and see all the things I post. But what do you think of this team as a local Bills fan?
I get excited like every week now. Like I can't wait for the next Bills game. And I wasn't always into sports. Like, well, I've been into sports, but I haven't always been like a diehard Bills fan. But over the past few years, I've been getting into it a lot more. And I just love it. It's like it's kind of like the old days where it's like you almost feel like we're gonna score on every um on every play almost to a certain extent, or you at least or you feel like we're going to get a first down like every play, and we're just going to keep driving it downfield. But the only thing that gets me nervous is how we are in the second half compared to the first half. I feel like we come out super strong. I mean, I think we got majority like 4 touchdowns in the first half on Sunday, and then only the one in the second, and they were coming back, and it was kind of scary. Because we got that momentum starting off, but I get a little nervous in the second half, feeling like we're going to lose a little bit of it.
Oh yeah, I mean Allen definitely got a little erratic in the second half for sure.
Yeah, he's feeling the footsteps a little bit, I think. But
well, we were talking about this with Mike at work, and the one thing I'll say is he has not thrown very many interceptions, and he fumbles, but he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. And also, he doesn't really do that crazy of shit unless he's down. And that's kind of a weird thing to be able to control. He doesn't really do it very often when he's not down. But there was you were talking about it was reminding you of the old days.
Yeah, like, I mean, when we had the K gun.
Absolutely. Kelly, Reed, which are always the people we talk about. But there was a video on Instagram, and I shared it on our stories. It's in one of our highlights on Instagram at Reg in the Zoo. REJANDTHEZOO. I realize we've never spelled that. At Reg in the Zoo. But anyways,
check me out at the Zoo 716 on Instagram.
Yeah, for real. But there was a video of all highlights, and somebody just put like a VCR filter over it. Nothing too complicated, but it had really retro-y highlight newsy music, and it just was like 4 minutes of Josh Allen versus the Rams, and it was all in like that vintage style with that vintage music, and it genuinely did remind you, like, it looked old, it looked vintage. He's a vintage quarterback. Like, he makes it look easy out there.
Yeah, and it's cool because he's still, it's like his third year right now, right?
Yeah, he's a young kid. I put this out on Twitter also today, but I was talking to Jeff, our friend, who's done some actual reporting for the news, and he's got some pretty close ties to some media outlets. But I was just talking to him about Ken Dorsey. I always bring up Ken Dorsey, who is the former Miami Hurricanes quarterback during their like really good run.
Yeah.
When they were like really sick. He was the quarterback coach for Cam Newton when Cam Newton won MVP and they went to the Super Bowl that year. So he's the quarterback coach, but he's in the room and he's around Josh Allen and Matt Barkley and Jake Fromm and also Davis Webb, who's a guy that played for Cal and Texas Tech under Cliff Kingsbury at Texas Tech, got injured, went to Cal for a 5th year, threw one of the prettiest deep balls you'll ever see in college. He's also on our like practice squad. So he's like a coach, and Brian Dable gets a lot of credit, but Ken Dorsey and also Davis Webb are, because they're two guys that are doing a lot behind the scenes that I guarantee, I'm not a behind the scenes reporter, but knowing that those two guys played quarterback at such a high level in college, even though they're not names that people might know that well. Yeah, they're definitely huge for a kid like Allen. And Dable gets all the credit, and Allen's getting at least some of the credit. Probably still not enough for what he's doing on the field. But yeah, I mean, the weapons we have, they look really, really good. But Ken Dorsey, man, he was a winner, not a huge arm, but just to be able to work with talent as a quarterback is like a skill in its own right. To be able to handle like hot heads, handle like big personalities in the huddle, handle like weakness in the huddle, like that's all stuff that, you know, guys like Matt Barkley, the backup, and Davis Webb, and even Jake Fromm, who's a young kid, he's like the young guy in the room. So it's just cool that like what Brandon Beane has done all around is just set Josh Allen up to succeed. It's just impressive.
I don't think it's going to stop either. I mean, I think next year I'm excited to see who we're going to get added next year in the wide receiver positions because they want him to use his arm, obviously.
Well, Gabe Davis, I hope that you remembered seeing him after I mentioned him on the pod here before anyone probably. He had an awesome touchdown.
So yeah, back here, Reggie in the zoo.
Had a little technical difficulty there for a second, but we're back.
We had a little TD. But
you were just saying you don't like Deshaun Watson for Houston. How? He's a great kid.
No, not him.
Is it Deshaun Watson you don't like, or is it Lamar Jackson from the Ravens that you
Lamar Jackson from the Ravens.
What is it about him that you don't like?
I just feel like he's overrated.
He did not do well. He did not throw well.
On Sunday,
he has no receivers, though.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, I know he won MVP last year, right?
I believe he won regular season MVP.
I just feel like the only thing he can do is run the ball really good.
He can run the ball.
I mean, yeah, like he could run the ball really good, but like
the way he runs it is pretty like it's enigmatic just how he runs the ball in its own right. But
it's
yeah,
impressive. I mean,
he did not throw the ball well. Usually when he's got guys open, he can hit guys. He has only like one receiver, Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown. He's tiny. And then they had a bunch of fucking guys I've never heard of. And they have one good tight end. They had two tight ends before, but Hayden Hurst went to a different team. But he has no receivers. And I texted my buddies and I said, he's going to struggle. Like, he has no receivers. Like, you look at Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. I mean,
they got some.
I don't know who the fuck. I don't know who the fuck Aaron Rodgers is throwing to because Devontae Adams was out.
Mahomes has Kelsey to throw to. They were hitting it pretty good.
Yeah, Kelsey's always there.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, the run game because then you see when you have no pass game like that, they can just stuff the run, and that's why even the run game didn't do shit versus the Chiefs. That was a shit game. But there was that tie. Did you see the tie between the Bengals and the Eagles? A disgusting tie of the week.
No,
they were both 0-2. They were both 0-2. And I swear on everything, I was watching just highlights, and they showed 0-2, 0-2, and it was like 3-3. And I thought to myself, bet that this game ends in a tie, like for whatever reason. I was thinking it. And it did end in a tie. It ended up with like Carson Wentz had a crazy play to win the game, but then neither team could score. That was with Joe Burrow, who's a rookie quarterback. A lot of rookies making a big name in the NFL. Justin Jefferson, a wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. He had a huge game. I actually drafted way too many rookies, dropped him, was able to pick him back up in the $200 league. So that's good because he had like fucking 30 points because he had like 7 catches for like 175 in either 1 or 2 touchdowns. But he's a rookie. He played for LSU. He had mad touches in college. So I figured that he would be good. There's a lot of receivers that are already playing well that are rookies. CeeDee Lamb for the Dallas Cowboys from Oklahoma. He's already playing well. But the Bills, they're getting some of the respect now that they probably deserved after the first 2 weeks, but weren't getting after beating the Rams. A lot of people are kind of jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I was waiting for that game. The first two I kind of felt that we had in the bag almost.
Which we should have, and then we almost didn't.
But to beat the Rams kind of shows that we really are a good team. That's kind of what I was, hoping for with that win. And even though in the second half he was or the team, they were coming back, I still felt like we were going to win, which is nice that we can at least close that win and not lose it all in the second half, like I know we've done in the past, which is really good.
Yeah, I had the one friend of mine said even like it was nice to get rid of that like typical just that like those old Bills feeling, like just getting rid of like every broken record game where somehow the Bills curse, like almost really it's like a weird curse that like something always goes wrong.
I just love that the ball's not getting thrown away every down.
Well, that's the thing is he doesn't throw interceptions. He holds on to the ball too long. That's the sign of a warrior, but it's also the sign of somebody who's going to get hurt.
Which is scary.
Unfortunately, that's usually what happens. Like Carson Wentz was like that. He got broken up. The difference is if you can earn the respect on the field from your opponents that they won't take cheap shots on you. Like you'll notice certain guys, they'll take bigger hits on than others. I'm not going to like say names, but like Carson Wentz, it seems like they just fucking tee off on the guy for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like
you feel bad for some of these quarterbacks.
Russell Wilson, like if he's pretty smart, but like there's still times where guys could just absolutely fucking break his collarbone by just landing on him. And they've even changed the rules for quarterbacks, obviously, to basically make the game or the man on the field safer, which, hey, whatever, decreases the ratio of like people with brain injuries. But still, like those guys could, like a Drew Brees, Russell, I almost said Russell Brand, Russell Wilson. Those guys are only 5'11". Baker, I'm sure they'd try and get a shot in on Baker. I'm sure they're fucking digging at his eyes under the mud of the blood and the guts. But yeah, I mean it's been exciting. Obviously, we saw the Titans and Steelers got postponed until Monday or Tuesday. They're trying to figure out what's going to happen with that, which is weird. It impacts fantasy.
How cool would it be to have a Tuesday night game? They should just have it every day of the fucking week.
Well, it sucks because the Bills play the Titans in 2 weeks, but at the same time, it's kind of cool. Yeah. Hopefully it's like contained though, because whoever played them last week, I don't know.
I think it was the Vikings that played them. And nobody's got it on that. There was no positive test that came back from them yet.
We'll have to stay tuned on that. Hopefully, it would be really shitty because obviously the NBA, which we'll segue into now, I guess, but it's just it would suck to see the NFL have to like pause or something because there's no bubble. Which baseball was able to kind of push through it. Seems like there's only a certain amount of guys in the league. They're not letting fans in, or at least close to players.
You'd feel that the NFL would be setting the bar based on their status, especially in this country. Nothing's bigger than football.
Yeah, and the NBA, like they talked about, a lot of guys struggled with being in the bubble. They were stuck like within a couple miles of each other for a long time, and some of the teams that didn't get along that well, it's kind of like if you're in a relationship with somebody that like you don't like, or like live with a roommate you don't like, and you get stuck like with them and you don't like that, like try moving in with somebody. If you like ever like want to get in a relationship and you want to take the next step, just move in with them and see if you could still like reside with them, because that's when you really know if like they're like legit. That's kind of like your teammates. If you had to live with your teammates or your coworkers, like some of these guys in the NBA, like the Clippers, they admittedly said like it was like a bad marriage. Like they were trapped in a room together and they just didn't get along very well and they didn't mesh well. A lot of you saw some of the younger players like Jokic and Murray from the Nuggets. They thrived. They eventually got taken out by King James, LeBron James, who just went into fucking cyborg mode, bro. He's taken another level, and a lot of people were basically saying when he like elevated his game at the end of these last two semifinal games versus the Nuggets, a lot of people are saying like Ryan Russillo, Bill Simmons. I don't know. Go on Twitter, look for yourself, but a lot of people kind of giving him that's a sweet glass, bro.
Check it. It's a skull, but it's like a pirate skull.
It's
hard
cool.
to see it.
After this segment, I'll grab my skull glass. But a lot of people are talking about. What were you gonna say?
I just wanted to say one last thing about football, real quick. It's like a 2-second thing. It's not like something crazy. I've just been noticing because there's no fans, the hits on the field are insane. When they hit each other, the helmet's hitting, the pads hitting, it's fucking intense, dude. Like you sympathize with the players a little more knowing like how hard they're actually getting hit because you can fucking hear it. That's scary.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean that makes sense that you could actually hear the impact more without the crowd noise.
Yeah,
like the real crowd noise.
I've just been listening to it like, every down. It's pretty intense. But you were talking Bill Simmons there last before I jumped in.
Oh yeah, no, just that LeBron has a lot of people. All the journalists are kind of hinting at like, do you ask the question of did this just cross LeBron over MJ because he made it into another finals and he just elevated his game and went like defensive on Jamal Murray, who had just shit everywhere the whole playoff. And he just is like the dad on the court right now. Like he's the biggest, strongest, not the fastest, but biggest, strongest guy for his like size. He's like fucking 6'8". And like he's just knows everything about the game, that he's just on another level. But now they have that young Heat team that took out my fucking Celtics in at least 6 games. I was happy to at least see the Celtics did not lose in 5. I ended up actually getting into a little Twitter spat with a kid, I think. Don't know. He was talking a lot of shit.
You've been getting more active on Twitter, you said, right?
I have been on Twitter. JR7Reg on Twitter. But JER7REJ. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff on there. But they at least I kind of made a prognosticator Nostradamus sports call on that game, which was game 5 after Tyler Hero fucking blew his load all over game 4 and scored like 37 points. I said he would have less than like 15 points and that the Celtics would win by like more than 13 or something like that. And he ended up having like exactly like the amount of points I said he would have less than.
Keep going.
It was about the same, like exactly the same. I was like 1 point off each way, where he only had like 15 points and the Celtics won that game. But then the next game they fucking lost. They were up by 6 at the end and they pussied out, honestly. So they didn't deserve to win. But the Heat, they're taking on the Lakers, and the Heat you got to check them out. There's these 2 young kids, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero. If you haven't seen him yet, they get around the court. They fly around. They're rookies. They can stroke the 3, though. Like, they're so fun to watch. Hero's got this silky game. He's silky and just fearless. They're both – Duncan Robinson's not as, like, smooth and fearless, but Hero's fun to watch, and he's going to be around for a while. But that's going to be a good series. It starts tonight. It starts right after we're filming, so by the next one, we'll have a little bit more on that.
Yeah, we got 20 minutes left before you got to get to that.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. I wanted to ask you, do the Celtics? So you know how the what was it? The Red Sox had a curse. They always said they had a curse for a while once they got rid of Babe Ruth when he went to the Yankees or something.
Yeah, I
Do the
believe
Celtics
that
have
was the
any?
curse of the great Bambino.
Yeah. Do the Celtics have anything like that, or did they ever have anything like that?
The Celtics.
I just feel like the whole Celtic that area has a lot of superstition when it comes to not just sports but like everything. Even
there is a very, very. It's interesting you say that. Well, they do have the most championships in all of the NBA, which I did drop in that Twitter spat with that teenager. I think he was a teenager. I think, but he was talking a lot of shit. But no, they have this lore about them though, where there's something about them where you have to be like this way. I don't know. You have to be like, you have to work hard. But they ask the players like, what's it mean to be a Celtic? And they're just always very like simple and cordial about like what it means to be a Celtic. But like they just have this certain like prestigious tradition. There's like hand-me-downs of like, they have people in the building in Boston that like played for the Celtics. All the people that work in like their media like were Celtics. Like it's just like a bloodline almost.
yeah.
But then the fans run deep. Like my dad and my brother are like two generations of like 60s, 80s fans. And then I liked them later on. But they do have like a weird curse where Reggie, they had two players. This was actually funny you say that, because Paul Pierce, it was just like the 15th anniversary, maybe more than that, but I believe about the 15th anniversary of him getting stabbed in a nightclub like 11 times. Jesus. He almost died. And before that, so he almost died. A lot of people don't know that story about Paul Pierce, but he almost died. He got stabbed in a nightclub. Who knows what happened? There's probably a lot of stories you can read about it. But before that, there was a guy named Reggie Lewis who he actually died. He wore number 35 and he was a young player. And he like had a heart attack on the floor, like during practice, like his heart just exploded. He was like,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And then before that, there was another guy, Len Bias, who I believe the Celtics did draft. He was like the same draft class as Michael Jordan. And he is a famous player who allegedly never tried any drug and then did cocaine like the night that he got drafted and overdosed and died. So that is a little bit of a strange curse that you probably didn't know about the Celtics.
But I knew that story, though, about that dude ODing for some reason. I don't know why I know about it. I just do. It's
definitely weird.
I love sports history. Even though I don't follow every sport like religiously, I love the history of it, especially NFL history. There's just something so like fascinating about it.
Yeah. Quick story. If you like stories, I tell you a quick one about Duncan Robinson and Eric Spoelstra. I shared it on Instagram, but I'm
looking down because I'm trying to open up my e-cig
that's cool,
charging port, and I can't fucking get it. It's got this rubber flap on it, but I'm listening.
Flippy flaps. Well, Eric Spoelstra is the coach of the Heat, and he was a plant from Pat Riley. And Pat Riley, if you look him up, they're starting to almost like coin him the godfather of the finals, because he's been in the finals for like 6 straight decades as a player, as a coach, as a GM, and as like an owner or GM. Like
how's he in the past 6 decades, you said?
Yeah, from like the 60s, 70s, 80s.
Talk about loving what
90s,
you do.
2000s, 2010s, 2020s.
Talk about loving what you
70s, 80s, 90s. So, yeah, he is a legend in his own right, but he also plucked Eric Spoelstra at a young age. And Eric Spoelstra started out very young as a video intern for the Miami Heat. And he worked his way all the way up over multiple years to eventually win those titles with with LeBron and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, but then he also now is back. So that was just a crazy rags to riches story. And then also there's just been these multiple stories of these and Pat Riley kind of plucking these seeds. Another one, Duncan Robinson. He played at Michigan, which was Division I, but before that he was like Division III, and he was just a pretty good 3-point shooter and lanky kid, and he eventually made it onto the Heat roster for being able to shoot, and now he's like starting on a finals team as a rookie. And like there's a tweet that went out of a journalist who works for the Ringer, Bill Simmons' company, and it was from Duncan Robinson right before he got signed. And he was finishing up at Michigan, and he was like, "Hey, sir, I'm like looking to find out what it's like in the journalism. I'm finishing up my career, blah, blah, blah." Because he didn't even think he was going to play basketball anymore. And now he's like starting on a fucking finals team for the Miami Heat. So that's Duncan Robinson.
Yeah, how awesome is that?
So they play tonight. So we'll see how that goes. Do you got any music recommendations? Let's take a quick flippy floppy.
Yeah, let's wrap it up in a different direction. Let's go to some music and movies. So I don't know what it was. Certain times of the year, I listen to like certain types of music. Like what I was listening to last year at this time, I start listening to again at this time. And for some reason, it's Weezer's Pinkerton album, which is their second album. If it's not a very well-known album, but the songs on it, you'll definitely know. I'm definitely a Weezer fan. I'm not a new Weezer fan by any means. I don't really like any of their new music. Their cover album thing, or that they did like covering some 80s songs, is pretty good. But their first 3 albums are really good. But Pinkerton's is one of my favorite albums, and I can't stop listening to it. Pinkerton, yeah. It's just about being, like in your early 20s or college years, where your hormones are going, and it's called Pinkerton. Just like Pink Triangle. It's just about sex and all that shit. It's really good.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, baby.
Yeah, baby. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. You know what I'm saying, man?
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, baby.
It's just that fucking shit, dude.
That's pretty cool.
It's a great album.
I played
great album.
That's probably around the same time as number 5 on my algorithm list.
You have a new favorite artist now, don't you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
It wouldn't be the music section if we didn't talk about 61, 62, 63. Yeah.
He does have like
a Sweetwater voice.
It's a different kind of voice, but it's like
it's sweet.
It's hard to explain, but it's
some guy on TikTok. He's also on YouTube. He's on Instagram. But there's some Vietnamese guy with like his teeth missing on the side, and he just sings American numbers, and it's fucking great. You got to find it.
So the Reg here has been coming into work. Probably for about the past. I didn't hear you do it today, but definitely yesterday, and then about a week before that.
Jael got sick of it.
Coming and singing. I think I
21, 22.
23, 24.
I said that's probably what people do in jail. Like that guy was probably in jail for a long time.
They find new ways to count.
He literally just got out, made a YouTube channel, just accidentally went viral.
Yeah. So I guess since we're switching it up here a little bit, it's going to be probably by the time this is posted, it's going to be October because it's the last day of September right now.
October, yo. It is October. What were you going to say?
I obviously I love talking about horror stuff. I think you do too. And especially around this time of year, horror movies are definitely one of the biggest, I don't know, how do you put it? One of the biggest things to look forward to, I guess, especially when the season comes around. So one of my favorite horror directors is John Carpenter. And I just found an article about some of his quotes that he said about horror, and I think it's really interesting.
Let's hear him.
So one of the first ones that I see on here, on the definition of horror, this is from an interview with Interview Magazine, it's called, from 2015. He says, horror is a reaction. It's not a genre. What do you think of that? Do you think is that something that you can agree with, or do you think?
You said it's a reaction, not a genre.
Yes, horror is a reaction, not a genre.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. It's sort of. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Because I feel like some people probably watch him and are like really afraid of him, and some people think like heroically. It's kind of fight or flight, really.
I like that. I mean,
Write that down.
Write it down. It's on the record.
I'm gonna have a tiny man, and he's gonna write stuff down.
He's got some
Size of an action figure.
He's got some
into the Matrix.
Very long quotes here too. But
read another one.
Let's see here. This one is really good. Horror is a universal language.
You have to read it with an English accent.
I can read it like Bane. It's easy for me to do that. Horror is a universal
language. Don't read it like Bane. Read it like an Englishman.
I don't know if I can.
Like a fine modern Englishman.
Horror is a universal language. We're born afraid. We're all afraid of things. Death, disfigurement, loss of loved ones. Everything that I'm afraid of, you're afraid of, and vice versa. That's pretty good. I like that. I like that he says that shit.
Can you repeat the beginning?
Horror is a universal language. We're all afraid.
See, that I agree with. It's definitely a universal language, but it's really hard to scare people on film. It's interesting.
The older you get, it's a lot harder. I remember being a kid, you know, the dumbest things used to scare me in a horror movie that when I watch now, it's like, that used to scare me. It's like so predictable, or you know what to expect. It's very weird. Like,
well, what's funny is movies. I was just visiting some more really good bad movies. I fell asleep during one. Fear.com, and I fell asleep. Yeah, I gotta watch it again because I fell asleep. But there was a bunch of old good bad movies in that era. That was actually earlier than the ones I was thinking of, but there was a few where they were just so bad, but they were trying to make horror movies in like today's world with like cell phones and like video games and the internet and stuff, and they're always awful. But if you notice, horror has just taken it back to like the time before cell phones and before, like 90s and earlier, like analog, pre-digital. So then it's like, oh, you don't have cell phones because it's like, just call my cell phone, or like, oh, they'd be able to track you. But no, there was a time, kids, when you couldn't be tracked and you didn't have cell phones, kiddos.
That's why the 80s is such a perfect time to do horror movies.
That's why you're seeing all these movies using, that's why you're seeing it.
Even the 90s, though, I feel like you can get away with it. You know, mid-90s, I feel like you can get away with it, too.
Oh, for sure.
Which is another good movie, mid-90s, if you haven't seen it.
Mid-90s, it is good. I always see it there, and I've never watched it.
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely a good movie. Good independent film.
It did Seth.
Jonah Hill.
That's what I meant.
He did it.
Seth from Superbad.
It's good. At some points you're kind of like, you don't get what's going on. But not that you don't get what's going on. It's somewhat relatable. I feel like it's more relatable if you grew up in that area.
West Coast.
Yeah, like that's where I really feel like if you were a part of that skateboard culture in the early 90s.
That's the thing. Everything about that movie, the movie Crown Vic, which was shot here in Buffalo.
Was that the one you tried out for?
I actually tried out for it.
Oh, yeah, casting call.
But
so you were on the casting couch for that, huh? Did they say
no? I stood up.
I was 1,000 to 5,000 a night.
I was standing, Matt.
standing in front of the casting couch.
I was standing, but no. They tried shooting that movie and saying that it was like L.A.
I don't really feel like you can pass Buffalo off as L.A.
No, it was awful because of that. That was the main reason why it was awful.
I feel like that's why Bruce Almighty was awful. Is because
It was on Crackle.
They
You
didn't
can
shoot
see
it.
Crown Vic on Crackle.
That's right. You said Crackle.
But there's commercials in between it, and you can't skip ahead. That's the shitty part about free Crackle is like it's such a shitty app. You
on
have
some
to,
of the apps that I used to do, when the ad comes up, sometimes you can just back out of the app. You know, like just close it, not completely close it, just go back to your home screen and then open it back up, and it skips over the commercials sometimes. But that was only on like the CW app when I used to watch The Flash and shit. But
I watched one of the better movies I've watched in a while. I mentioned it to you at work, but Horse Girl.
I want to watch that. I really do.
You should definitely check it out, dude. I don't want to give away too much, but I guess all I'll say is really perplexing, really entertaining, great casting, great acting, great like wardrobe, sets, just a quality film. Music, cuts, had some mental just like I don't know how to describe it, but somewhat of like I don't know, abstract modern kind of thought cuts, like those kind of cuts that like they make you think with the way that they cut.
I like how they did the trailer. It was really, I almost thought, I'm like, this almost seems like a love movie. Or like
Rayleigh is the one that actually
movie.
Rayleigh found the trailer, and that's what she brought it up, and I checked it out. She just said it was going to be good, and she's usually pretty good at that. She says a movie's good. She doesn't really call out movies very often.
Yeah.
So we checked it out immediately right before the disgusting debate last night, which we won't even really go into. But Horse Girl, it's definitely, I'm probably going to watch it again. It's one of those movies. I'll probably watch it again one more time and then put it away for like 10 years so that I can enjoy it again.
Yeah, like pick up on the things you missed. I like watching movies a few times, if it's a new one, just to get a little more understanding of it. But just because it's getting close to 9 o'clock here, and we can wrap it up soon. Borat 2, we were talking about that a few episodes back. That's going to be on Amazon Prime, it looks like.
I saw a trailer on Twitter, and it was from like a handle that was like the government of Kazakhstan, and it was actually Borat. It was like actually Borat addressing it and saying like Donald Trump and like Joe Biden's. One of them that he said was like Joe Biden's breath so bad he has to wear a mask all the time. Like there was a lot of good ones.
That's
He's
a pretty good Borat.
Thank you. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting example of marketing. He went on Twitter. They made a handle that's like Kazakhstan government.
That's
because that was the original. Like he was coming over from there as like a correspondent. That's
awesome.
If they had that, which is crazy. Like he's gonna get shot. Sacha Baron Cohen. He's eventually gonna get fucking killed. Like
something's gonna backfire on him for sure. But I love that he does what he does, because I mean that's like, I think we talked about that before. That's like real acting.
Life.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the best.
And then the last thing I saw here, which I just thought was cool. Not that I'm like a diehard Godzilla fan or anything. I mean, those movies are Godzilla. And then I see that we have Godzilla vs. Kong. They just released some teaser footage of it. And everything. It looks legit. I mean,
that one
fucking huge. But that's coming out May 21st of 2021 next year.
That one Kong movie they had, I saw that in theaters, and those people that were on that island were really scary.
Which one?
I don't know. They just kept going.
I'm trying to think if it is the one with Brie Larson or the one with Jack Black.
Jack Black. Who's the girl? Naomi Watts.
Naomi Watts, yeah.
That one.
So that's okay. That's the one that came out in like 05, 06 time.
Yeah, the people on that island were scary as fuck.
Yeah, the newer one,
Skull Island, maybe.
So Skull Island, that's like the new one. That's with
you know what? The new Godzilla movie.
That's with John C. Reilly.
I might have been at a wedding with a guy that worked on that Godzilla movie. I'll have to double fact check that. I didn't know him. I was a guest at a wedding that he was at. The guy who was a producer on that film.
Was it the Godzilla with Bryan Cranston, or the one with...
Was there just one?
There was two. The one with Bryan Cranston, and then there's the other one with the chick from Stranger Things.
Damn, 3 Godzilla movies?
No, so 2. But
this is the third one?
There's going to be a third one, yeah.
Wow.
The one with...
that's a lot of Godzilla.
Well, the one with the chick from Stranger Things, whoever plays...
the little 11 girl?
Yeah, I keep forgetting her name. But she's cool. She's a good actress.
Somebody said Tyler Hero's little kid picture when he's a little boy. They said the Celtics lost to 11 from Stranger Things. It was so funny.
She was in the second one, and they had Mothra as the...
oh, shit.
I
remember Mothra. Dude, I remember watching Mothra on Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, I forgot they did that. I mean, I used to watch the Godzilla animated cartoon that was on when we were kids.
Here's a little Instagram shout out. There's a page on Instagram, and it's just Scooby-Doo backgrounds. I'll feature them on the Instagram page, but I follow them, and it's literally just backgrounds from episodes of Scooby-Doo without the characters at all, and it's like art, but it has like the time and date of what episode it's from and a little title. Like it would just be like spooky slimy graveyard 1969 episode 320, or like, I don't know, you'll have to check it out. It's pretty cool though. Something like Scooby-Doo backgrounds or Scooby-Doo, I don't know.
Well, I'll definitely check it out. Well,
I wanted to do the 5 songs. You mentioned your John Carpenter. Did you have any more John Carpenter? I was thinking about John Carpenter again with like the fan film thing. Like we saw there was a Jason Voorhees fan film.
Oh yeah,
could you make a Michael Myers fan film?
There's actually a bunch of them out.
Yeah, so we should just make one, but not have it not be Michael Myers. Like, just make a quick horror movie.
I think we really should too. I mean, not like we should just rush into
horror shorts.
I think we can actually come up with something really good.
Got a lot of ideas for horror shorts.
Yeah, I got a few too. But John Carpenter, the remake that Rob Zombie did, which is just atrocious and just terrible.
I saw that he said he's proud of those movies.
Well, Rob Zombie said that John Carpenter said all this shit, and John Carpenter like never said any of it. So John Carpenter fucking hates Rob Zombie.
I did not know that. I just saw that Rob Zombie apparently said that he's proud of those movies. I wanted to say that
the first one's not bad. The second one's awful.
Speaking of horror, earlier when you were mentioning the time of the year, it's getting fall, the music that you listen to, the movies that you watch.
Yeah.
Get this. I was talking to Rayleigh about the pod, and I was asking her a few things, and she was like, well, it's a full moon on Halloween.
Is it really?
Like, that's fucking crazy. And it turns out it's not only a full moon on Halloween, but it's a hunter's moon. And
what does that mean? The hunter's moon?
Exactly. It's the time to hunt for meat for the season.
Shit.
Human meat. Also, there's not only one.
Human meat. That's always sunny.
There's a full moon on October 1st also. So there's 2 full moons in October.
That's kind of cool. So tomorrow night there's a full moon.
Yeah.
That's a good way to spark off this next podcast then tomorrow. And I think
the finals are on tonight. I got to drop my 5 songs. Is that where you want to wrap up with, or did you have anything else?
Yeah, I just think our next podcast we should just do straight horror. Spark off the October the right way. Do a
horror fest.
Just do a horror fest of stuff, whether it's shows.
I'm down with that.
Stories, movies, fucking just real people that are scary, anything Halloween related.
I've got a couple of ideas on that. We could do like verses. We could do a tournament.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We could also do like best cinematography. We could also do like with nominees. We could also do period pieces, best period piece.
Probably The Witch. I can already say that one.
The Village is pretty good. And then like that would be the fun part would be like, okay, well then if we say that that's number 1, then what would be, 2 through 5? So that could be fun. We'll write down some ideas for that, and I'm down to do that for the next one. Because the NBA finals are going on. The Bills are 3-0. We'll stay tuned on that. I've got my 5 songs of the week here real quick. These are coming from the YouTube algorithm. I found a really funny, weird local song from the olden days. It's a Simon Pure beer jingle, and it's called Cheektowaga Charlie.
Cheektowaga Charlie.
So if you go on YouTube and search Cheektowaga Charlie, Simon Pure, you'll find it. Also, number 2 on my algorithm list, it's a cover song, but it's a cover song by Rick Astley.
Oh, shit.
Singing Post Malone's Better Now. So if you go on YouTube and search Rick Astley Better Now cover, it's awesome.
Rick Astley's the dude when you would like search for a video that says like the hottest girl ever naked. You click on it and then Rick Astley.
Yeah, and you get Rick rolled.
Yeah, Rick rolled. That's what it is.
But he's like 50. He's probably like 60. And he's still got an absolute just motorboat of a voice. Third, I've got a classic hip-hop R&B from the olden day to really take you back. Just save this one for, a sunny moment when you have some time to relax to yourself, and put on Welcome Back by Mace. And just have a nice relaxing time with that one.
I forgot about Mace.
When you're ready to get a little bit angry and you want to kind of start thinking about some stuff that maybe you didn't want to think about for a while, put on Hello by Poe. It's a 90s grunge female singer. Matt, I don't think he liked it at work when I put it on, but it's a great song. And then finally, new music, but from an old favorite of mine, Deftones has new music out. They have a new album out, but if you go on there, they've got a new song called Genesis with a video that might give you a fucking seizure if you watch it in the dark on a big screen TV.
I'll definitely check it out.
But yeah, those songs are legit. But that's what I'm listening to this time of the year. And I agree, though. I definitely listen to some things like all season round. And I'm going to be honest, I already watched Beetlejuice. So,
I got to watch that one.
I was flipping through. It was on TV, and it was semi-uncut. Like it wasn't. I don't remember what channel it was on, but I already watched Beetlejuice. I'm getting in the spirit.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time. Michael Keaton's only in that movie for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, that makes sense. They're big minutes, though.
They're supposed to be doing a sequel.
I got to do a quick shout out to my hat.
Yeah, dude,
we'll wrap it up. We'll wrap it up on that. I picked up this hat from Old School Hat. It's a vintage Bills hat.
Let that hair down, dude.
Oh, no, not right now. It's a vintage Bills hat. I'll just show the camera. They probably saw it on the photo, but I did get it in, so I will be doing my Google review. And also, it still has the tags on it, which is pretty interesting.
What is it?
It's got a pro line.
Pro line, okay.
It's like NFL team, like back in the day.
I feel like Marv Levy wore that
sport
hat.
Specialties. Dude, so, okay, it's got the little logo on the side, but it said signatures unknown, and I got to confirm some of them, but I'm pretty sure this one says Steve Christie, number 2, and then this other one says, I think, Chris Moore, number 9, who were
cool.
They were definitely the kicker and punter during the 90s. So I've got another one here that looks like maybe a 93, maybe an 87, maybe an 81, maybe a 90. No, that's the 9. And then maybe a 5. But that one's got a CG. But yeah, I got it in. It came in pretty quickly. The shipping was pretty quick. It's
I like it. I think
in poor condition. It still fits on my head. It's not like dry rotted, which is cool because hats go like super quickly.
I think Steve Christie has the longest kick in Super Bowl history.
Is that a fact?
I think 52 yards, I think.
Speaking of, I also got this, which I just realized they say they give a free gift with every purchase. This is old school hat, so thank you for that. I just realized, though, I hope that he didn't mean chokers because of the Bills. And what if this was a cursed hat? What if this hat was... But it's signed by Steve Christie, so if it was signed by Steve Christie, that means it was after Scott Norwood, which is crazy. And then this guy sent me a fucking chokers. And this is old, too. This one is like one of those vintage ones from like the 90s. It's got like the official NCAA shit. Oh, 1985. Chokers. Grays Harbor College chokers.
That's cool. I like that a lot. I love vintage shit like that. Throwback
so
stuff.
That came for free with the old school hat. But I figured I'd give them a quick shout out because that's why I bought the hat and so I could wear it on the podcast because it matches.
Well, I feel like some of this is going to influence some of the swag and merchandise that we're going to get for ourselves.
Rob Johnson. So, yeah.
Don't even get me started on that, bro.
Yeah, we'll talk about Rob Johnson on the horror episode if you'd like.
Yeah, for sure. The Music City Miracle is definitely a horror show for sure.
I guess that wraps it up. I'm going to go watch the finals.
Great episode. You
go get lost in your lap with that Lagavulin.
Lagavulin. That's what Ron Swanson drinks from Parks and Rec.
Sounds like you're gargling on a goblin's cock.
I don't know, dude. I feel like... So, I mean, I drank quite a bit, actually.
Well, take it easy, bud. We got work in the morning.
Now it's down her. I'll be good, dude.
Yeah, take it easy, bud. Get a cold shower. I think that's it. Let's
wrap it up.
Z vomits. My cat vomited this morning. I was telling you how he annoyed me. He's been waking me up mad early. And he woke me up mad early, and then he'll dig in his litter box just to wake me up because it makes noise. Then he wakes me up, so then he immediately starts asking for food. So I give him food. Finally, I relax. Immediately throws up the food. I'm like, fucking great.
I love when you can tell that they're going to cough up a hairball, and they're like, "Bleh."
Yeah, it was like that.
That's the worst. And you're just waiting for it to come
projectile.
Up. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So it's episode 15. We'll wrap it up right there.
Yeah, I'll come up with a name for this one later on. But whoever listened to this, who's ever listening to this one, whoever downloads it, we can't thank you guys enough. I mean,
absolutely.
We're just doing this nonstop. Even if we have one listener or 1,000 listeners, I think we're going to keep going with it.
Yeah,
it's just a lot of fun. It's such a release, and it's just so much fun.
It's definitely a release, and it definitely gives a good forward mind. Like it kind of gets everything out that you feel like you want to say. I definitely agree with you. Definitely grateful for the opportunity. We hooked up the USB mics for this episode. It's obviously not exactly the same, and we've gotten a lot of compliments on our studio, so I don't want to take away from what you've been able to do with the studio.
that we had, I think, was the best look that we've had yet with that new table. I think that looked really
so then
good.
we took it and we flipped it and we put it back down, and now here we are in episode 15. It's backwards, it's upside down, but we got the USB mic, so we figured we'd try these because now we can do remote interviews with other people anywhere in the world.
I think this would be a great way.
Little
to get
did you
them
know,
on.
you didn't even know this was the first remote interview, because then we could have other people on.
I think this would be a great way as compared to having them come to the studio. It's just safer considering.
Well,
COVID.
yeah, if they're
And
outside,
all they need
yeah,
are their cell phone headphones that already come with like a a mic on it, and
Yeah.
it'll sound good too. And I think it would just be a really easy way to get somebody on here. So if you're someone who's listening
definitely.
and thinks you can benefit from being on Reggie in the Zoo, hit us up. We're looking for anybody and everybody to be on the show.
Absolutely. And obviously always listen on your way to work, listen in the shower, listen when you don't want to listen to your kid, listen when you are listening to the baseball game and that gets boring. Listen to us on Apple, Spotify, Google, and Amazon Music, right?
We're recently on Amazon Music. We are on every single platform, I believe, except iHeartRadio. That's it. We're on everything. Podcaster, Castbox, shit that I've never even heard of. We are on it. But
Yeah.
the only thing I don't
Tell your
see us
friends.
on is iHeartRadio. And I mean, I'd never listen to iHeartRadio anyway, but
So there's no excuses for your friends and family to at least give us a try.
And the easiest way to listen to us and watch us is just YouTube.
And I'm definitely trying to reach out to a lot of the people around the country that are from Buffalo or fans of Buffalo, because we also do digital marketing, so we can reach you that way. So we're going to be basically trying to connect with people that love Buffalo, sports, music, movies, all the basics,
etc.
but in our own way, because we're dedicating all this stuff. If it means you're going to start your own podcast to make ours look stupid, then hey, we inspired you. And that's the inspiration point of the week.
Yeah, any fellow podcasters too, let's collab on something for sure.
Definitely. We'll see you later.
Yeah,
we'll see you later, boys and girls.